Hello, Darth Dragon here with your one-stop shop for the mathematical awesomeness, I guess. I don't know. Alright, so today we're going to do area of a triangle, and so I'm going to define a couple things, and then we're going to show how to find, well, the base and the height of a triangle over and over again. And that's going to be one video, and then we'll have a second one. But alright, so let's start by recording. The base of a triangle is literally any side of the triangle. The most important part that you need to know is that it has to be a side. But that's it. Any side of the triangle can be a base. It doesn't matter which. Some are easier to use as the base than others, but it doesn't matter. It can be any side of the triangle. The height of the triangle is the distance from the base to the opposite vertex. And this must be perpendicular. Oh, there's not spell check on this video. To each other. Okay, so the distance from the base to the opposite vertex. So the vertex is just a fancy way of saying the point of a triangle. So this is a vertex, that's a vertex, that's a vertex. And they have to be perpendicular to each other, which just is a fancy way of saying that they have to meet at 90-degree angles. And we'll go over that here in a second. And then finally, the formula for area of a triangle. Area is equal to 1/2 base times height, or 1/2 BH, which is how I will write it from now on. So the area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. And that is all the vocab we need. So let's get into finding bases. So remember I said base can be any side of the triangle. So let's just pick this. Here's a base right there. So we need to go from the opposite vertex, which is this one, to the base at a 90-degree angle. But thankfully, this is already a 90-degree angle. So this will be the height, and that's very simple. So AB, segment AB is the base, and segment BC is the height. Now, I want to point out what it says right here. Only right triangle if there is a right angle. That's these little guys. Or if it's a rectangle or a square, if it specifically tells you, never assume based on looks. Everybody wants to, but you can never do it. Don't do it. Don't say it's a right triangle unless you know. Repeat that out loud right now. Thank you. Alright, so let's pick another one. Let's say this is the base. Okay, so here's the base. The opposite vertex or corner would be A. So to go to A to B is, it's a right angle, so that'll work. H, yay! So your base is BC, and your height is AB. So they just kind of switch places. But this one right here, let's use the other one. Let's call this my base down here. I have an issue. This line doesn't meet here at a right angle or here at the right angle. But I have rulers. So here's what I do. When it's not a right triangle or it's coming from an angle that's not a right angle, I put one ruler on my base. Then I grab a different ruler. And I go through the opposite vertex and stick this ruler, or any straight edge, it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be a ruler, onto my other ruler like this. So as you can see right there, there's a little right angle I just formed. Connect. And I have a height. Now the only thing you need to worry about is when you do that, you create an extra point. So I call all of mine X. That's point X. So for this one, AC is the base, but the height is actually Bx. And we'll do a lot of examples just like that here in a second. So, and we'll just keep going over it. So let's do the EFGs. So let's say this is my base, because this is the easiest one to work with. Here's my base, opposite side, right there. And really, I don't always have to put 2, I just show 2 because this makes a right angle. So I just put this on my base, going through there, and voila. I have a height because I'm awesome, but remember to make that point X or Y or anything really. You could say, well, this is E, F, G, I'll make that H. I mean, it doesn't matter, but it can be kind of confusing. So here, G, F is my base, and E, X is my height. We'll pick another one. Let's pick this one. So here's my base. Now, this one I like having 2, so I'm going to extend this out like so. Go from this corner, which is the opposite, and you'll notice that it's in the middle of nowhere, which is fine. It's in the middle of nowhere, but it's still there. So here's my height. Now, if it helps, we can think of it like this, and look at it from this angle, which is more obvious. The way I tell my students is I think of the triangle like a mountain, right? Where the base is the ground. This mountain is sideways, but it's still a mountain, and the bottom of the mountain is down on the ground. So the ground will extend, but the mountain's only coming out this area right here. And the height isn't from here to here. No, the height is from the ground to the tippy top. In mathematics, in geometry especially, we call that the altitude, which is why we measure how high you are from sea level as altitude, which is interesting. So anyway, so here's my base, here's my height, and let's do the other one I haven't used. So here's my base. Opposite is right there. Let's get my 2 rulers going. Cross the base, through the opposite point, go down. Ta-da! Here's my height. I forgot to, so I'll call that X. So EG is my base, and FX is my height. For this one, EF is my base, segment EF, and my height is GX. Okay, let's do HJI. Call this my base. Opposite is I. Go through. Oh, I messed up. And honestly, if you don't have a ruler, it's okay. You can figure it out. I mean, so HJ is my base. IX is my height. Let's say I said this is my base. If you're good enough, you can just say, okay. That's basically going out like that. Come straight down relatively. And I eyeballed it. You don't have to have the ruler. It just helps be precise. So, I mean, let's check my handiwork. Man, I am good. I am so good. Anyways, so we'll say JI is my base, and HX is my height. One more. We will call this my base. Through the opposite point. So, my HI, hi, hello, is my base, and my height is JX. So that's just being able to find the bases and heights. Pretty simple. We're going to do one more video, and that's going to be about finding area of specific triangles, or if you know the area, finding the base / height. So stick around.